when lawyers die, why do they bury them 600 feet underground? And I couldn't think of anything. So he was like, because deep down, they're really nice guys. I was like, okay. Hi everyone, we're with Jalaj Jain today. He's currently studying law at Gujarat National Law University and has been a legal intern for a lot of firms. He's also worked with a lot of startups to devise their legal model successfully. But what mostly stands out is that he is the host of India's first legal podcast, Fun with Law. Welcome, Jalaj. I'm so happy to have you here today.
First of all, thanks a lot for inviting me. And I think I'm not the best guy to start your podcast with. So because I don't think so I'm very successful. You said I've been successful, no, but I have been a part of a lot of because my first internship itself was with a startup incubator, right? So I literally imagine first day walking for your first internship and you're working with 6 startups.
Yeah.
And we'll more talk about that more. And you're doing an amazing job, especially with your venture and your story, that how you're trying to empower women. And I'm quite glad that you invited me, because a lot of these initiatives, they only talk to women or try and include them. But it's very good that you're taking men also, like in the initiative, because the thing is, it's a systematic issue that affects everyone. So if you don't empower women, it's unhealthy for everyone, not just women. Yeah. So it's bad for society in general. So thanks a lot for doing so amazing. And also, you are my junior, we are from same school. Yes, and you're doing a good job, and I'm happy to help all
right then. So we want to know more about Fun with Law. So what made you started?
Okay. I will be very honest. So my dad is into photography, all right? I'm also into shooting, videography, and I know a little bit of editing. Editing videos, because in my 11th, 12th grade, I got a nice laptop which had a good editing software. So I always was experimenting. So what happened was, lockdown happened, and imagine when you're going in for an exam, and one day you're just thinking, and the exam is in an hour, and you're like, what if my life stops right now? Like the time stops, and I get to do whatever I want to do. Yeah. That is exactly what happened. I recorded like a video, just me sitting, turning in files and whatever. And then Sheldon Cooper from Big Bang Theory.
Yeah.
We had fun with flags, right?
Yes.
So if you watch my trailer for the series, it's like Sheldon Cooper saying, hey, welcome to the first episode of Fun with Flags.
Yeah.
That was earlier, where I thought I'll explain law concepts. Then I realized it's quite hard to edit everything and, to make people actually interested.
Yeah.
So So I just uploaded the video, and then a week later, a few people started texting me, Ben's Fun with Law coming out, Fun with Law. And then I had this boss, Advocate Nipun Saxena, very successful at his age, especially, and in his field. And he's like a mentor, he's like a brother, and I've interned with him also. So I was just saying, sir, let's talk about Corona and, COVID law and the whole aspect of it. And he said, why not? And then I recorded the first episode. Then next week, I recorded the second. Third week, I recorded 2. And then fourth week, I recorded 6 in 1 week. I really became addicted to it. And then my workflow started improving. I started having a thumbnail. Then I started having a description. Then everything. So that is the whole story behind Fun with Law. So it was never my intent to, talk to people.
Yeah. You know what, the other day, my father was reading out one of his WhatsApp jokes to me. So he was like, when lawyers die, why do they bury them 600 feet underground? And I couldn't think of anything. So he was like, because deep down, they're really nice guys. I was like, okay. So while that was funny, it really struck a chord, because the thing is that the entire concept of law and lawyers is an alien one to me. And I'm sure I'm the only one. And it's just surprising the way it is, because law forms a fundamental aspect of our lives. So that drew me to your podcast, because there were a lot of things that were relatable to me despite not knowing anything about law. So the way you interact, the type of questions you put up, and you make it a point to explain certain things to your audience which they would not have known of. So
Yeah.
the entire thing was something that was really new for me, and something that I immensely enjoyed. Uh,
Thank you.
but I'm sure you faced a lot of obstacles, or maybe a couple of them along the way. So what would you
Yeah.
say was the most difficult part in getting started, or getting going, and maybe audience interaction?
See, I'll tell you a couple of things. So the most difficult part was never to get started.
Yeah.
See, I'm a very enthusiastic person. All right, like for me, I mean, I don't know. I look at things differently than
Yeah.
other people. All right. So the thing with me is that for me, I was just sitting at home, uploaded a video. Then people are like, "Chalo, fun. What is fun with law?" Then I texted my boss. We started. But the problem was once I was out with like 3 episodes, and
Yeah.
it had been a month, and I genuinely have serious commitment issues. So the problem is I get bored. I get bored so easily. So the problem was to keep going.
Yeah.
And that third, fourth week when I recorded 6 episodes, I owed it to my guests that that I come out and I put in my effort to to give their voice an audience, because they had
Yeah.
come on my show. So I can't be like I will just put it on YouTube. I have to edit it properly intro music and everything. And also, Shubhi, I realized was that whenever you start something new, there will be people who will tell you what's wrong with the thing. They
Yeah.
will, and they will always, like my father told me this, and it's true also. Like initial feedback was that you should do this better, do that better. But the thing is, I'm very very good at shutting down things like around me and just do whatever I want to. And that's the whole point with funds also. For example, I am right now interning with a firm. We are doing some tech law, and it's very interesting. I work 10 to 12 hours a day. So
Yeah.
essentially, I only like get to work on it on Sunday. But the point here is, it is so nice. It is so beautiful to just speak to someone for an hour and get to know them. Like, for example, this is probably more boring for me because here I'm talking about myself.
Yes.
All right, because yeah, so with Fun with Law, that has happened. All my hobbies, I start with a joke, then there's an intro music,
Yeah.
and then yeah, and then I get to play around with editing and like the whole software, and then I speak to them. Then there's an ending, and then marketing and editing something I hate. I genuinely hate like texting people, please see, because slightly egoistic. Yeah.
I get that.
So I think yeah. So the difficult part is to just basically keep going on. It will be the fourth month now, July, that I'll be doing this, and I intend to do it for 6 months.
No, but so the reason I knew you in school was because you were the senior who went for all kinds of MUNs, and you were this one person who would come to school in formals more than his uniform. I remember you guys were training us for Utopia or one of those MUNs, where you just came in and then you told us all those points about research that we should keep in mind. I think there were other seniors who were telling us that, especially Udyan Bhaiya and all. And then you just came in and then you were like, just be confident, okay? No one gives a shit about what you're saying. And I think that was something that really stuck with me for a while.
Let me tell you something about it. And there's a very profound thing at the end that I'm going to tell you. So the thing is, that was my whole strategy throughout, through till my beginning of my first year. My strategy was like, be confident. No one really cares, because especially when you're in North and Delhi, Gurgaon, people are very superficial. So I never focused on the basics. So I was never as good as an MUNer, honestly. I mean, I like with every MUN, I used to get some award, something. I was never the best, you know because I always because my key was confidence. And then I was that I could speak in heavy voice, your lordships and or whatever. Well, sorry, your excellency, your lordship is a law. but the point but the point is, I realized, and I genuinely realized that in my first semester, because all that hype around me was gone. You said that I used to wear formals in school, and so a lot of people knew me, especially like if a guy, a 100 kg guy in his 12th grade is roaming around in like a three-piece suit. Obviously, people are going to notice him, right? But what happened was, I realized, should be that I never worked on my basics. My certain basic skills I lacked, and I realized whatever I built around myself, it wasn't the person that I wanted to be. But like, I was good at it. I was like, I wouldn't say I was the best. I mean, I was never the best. I mean, there are people like Agastya, Rudra who are far better than me, far better. But and they all are doing law and whatever. But the point here is that with me, what happened is, I realized in my first semester that I need to deconstruct myself. I left everything. I left theater, I left MUNs,
Hmm.
and I left everything. I came to zero. Like with law school, I forgot, like probably my second semester, I forgot everything, like whatever I had been taught, and I was like, and I need to unlearn first, and then try and do something new.
Okay.
That is where I discovered law and tech, and that is the whole point behind that. That to actually do something in your life new, you need to forget everything that you were doing, and then probably come back to it later.
All right. Tell us more about, the entire concept of engaging tech in law and why it's really important.
There are three reasons behind it, all right? Three reasons. And I actually, jotted them down because I knew you were going to ask me this question. So both my father and grandfather are IITians, all right, and also a couple of uncles and aunts, like in the cousins and all. So the point here was that in 11th grade, in the beginning and 10th end, I realized that I'm not passionate enough about science. And and to go to these IITs and NITs, these top tier colleges, you need to have passion. I mean, how like I never had that passion, and I realized because I'm not that academically oriented, for me to go to one of the best universities for my for my basically field is very important, because I knew I was going to end up at VIT Manipal. I honestly knew, and it's not like VIT Manipal are not good colleges, but for people who are not academically oriented, they will just take you down. Like at these colleges, you need to push yourself. As an institution, they never raise you, right? For me, and for example, you are in a very good, nice government university, right? Like even an average kid at your university will end up doing well because the general standard is so high. So that is what exactly that happens at my law school also. I mean, I'm not at all the best student, or I'm not the best, academically. But the thing is, the general level is higher, so you always aim higher.
Yeah.
And yeah. So that was the first reason, because I always wanted to do something new. Second reason is because I grew up with the tech mindset. Because see, one thing I realized in law school, that was last semester, was that I wanted to grow up building something. I wanted to build something. I wanted to be an engineer. I wanted to be an architect. I wanted to start a business. And I realized that lawyers, like at one point of time, they're feeding off other people, right? They're feeding off other people's disputes. And I don't want to end up doing that essentially. I want to build something of my own. And that is where tech came. Because really, man, I respect it. Like you guys are builders, right? You build something. All right. You build something that is to show for. There's a product. And the third reason was that I wanted to do something niche.
Yeah.
Right. And that obviously it's very good to be like a generalist, but I really wanted to, because it's easy to speak about everything when you know what is your core. I mean, if today someone asks you have a startup, right? So you will say, yeah, I know how to run a startup. I mean, that's your thing. And then you can talk about 20 other fields, because then someone is listening to you.
I'm sure you had to, really go out and explore and learn a lot of other things that weren't really being spoon fed to you, as they are to
Yeah.
us engineers. So,
Yeah.
navigating through that must have been difficult, but then I guess nothing in life comes easy. Even Santa comes with
No.
laws. So, yeah.
Oh, kya baat. No. So the point here is that no. I had a couple of seniors who were doing new things, whether it was law and tech or not, were different. But for example, I had a couple of seniors who really encouraged me. I'm still in touch with them. But there was this one senior, Hatem Hussain. He's a Rhodes Scholar now, and he got into Oxford and like whatever. He got into a lot of universities and got scholarships and whatever. Brilliant guy. And he was into law and tech. And the thing with me was, it was also an ego issue. Because I'll tell you why. Because my strategy is, if the world is going there, I need to go here. Simple. I mean, that is how I am. And because I feel, and it's a simple strategy, all right? You can win if either you are the first one, either you're the smartest one, or you cheat. I don't cheat. And I mean, I would like to believe I'm smart, but it's a lot easier to be first. So then I figured out what is that one thing that no one is doing in my batch. I figured that out, and I was like, I want to do this. And I could resonate with startups, because, like, for example, my friends who are into startups, when I speak to them, they don't feel I'm like some outsider. All right, I can come down to their level, and I necessarily don't know how to code. but I respect what they're doing, because there are a lot of lawyers who are, very, very, very neglecting about these things.
Yeah, right.
So, yeah, so basically that was the whole thing about law and tech, and it fascinates me, man. Like, for example, if I create an app today, if
Hmm.
I because the power of internet is so much,
Hmm.
everyone is going to like view it, and it's beautiful, yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, I sound like an uncle, yeah. But for example, if today I put up an episode and I get 300 views, like, should we tell me when was the last time you spoke in front of 300 people and they listened to you? Imagine people are clicking.
Yeah,
Imagine people are actually clicking on that thing to view me.
exactly.
It's powerful, powerful stuff. And honestly, I don't interfere in the tech side of it. I don't say I'm going to build something.
Hmm.
But as a law student, because I really want to be a good lawyer, I mean, I want to argue in the Supreme Court. That's the dream. What I can work hard is in terms of its regulation. I can help people build stuff. So yeah.
Yeah, and I'm glad you got into this because for people like me, or for most of us, litigation in general takes too much time and money. So it's something we're
Okay.
rather afraid of. For example, when I was starting this venture up, there were so many legal documents that I didn't understand. But I knew I couldn't really go to someone for legal advice because it would be very expensive and we didn't have funds coming in at that stage.
The way the practice of law works is, so
Yeah.
there is something called pre-disputes stage and one is post-dispute stage.
Hmm.
All right. Just break it down into two. All right. So there are, like, in both sides there is a lot of money. So that's the point. So when, for example, when you said the word litigation,
Yeah.
that necessarily comes after disputes. So for a startup like you are just building, for you, that is not, you don't go for any kind of litigation. That's a wrong term.
Okay.
What you go for is compliance. You go for is, okay, are my documents clear? Are my
Hmm.
contracts fine? All right. So this is how the world works. And at no point of time, I'm not a lawyer. I mean, if you and I like, mess up with anything, I also call a lawyer. I mean, I'm just a fourth year law student, right? But the point being that what you guys need, and I'm sure you have a lot of viewers who want to start their own thing. To those, I'm going to say that what you need is good advisory services. What you need is for good agreements, for good, because if you've seen a lot of these things, I mean, you can start something, it can go big, but small legal mistake and all your hard work can, I mean, go to the dustbin.
Yes. Okay. So, all right, cool. So, what we're looking at is compliance. But what
Yeah.
are people who are seeking justice for some? So, what's labeled as access to justice? Do you think that's a
Okay.
problem that can be solved using technology?
So law and tech consists of six things. All right.
Okay.
It consists of internet laws. So it consists of basically a lot of conventional things. For example, when I exercise my freedom of speech, I exercise it through Facebook, Twitter. When I want to sell something, buy something, I go to Amazon, right? When I want to get a few services, I go to Urban Clan, right? So a lot of conventional services are shifted to internet. So basically, the practice of internet laws and how that does that work, that is one thing. Number two is going to be regulation of technologies. For example, if I want to set up a telecom tower, right? Basically, or if I want to put up a factory, if I want to implement AI in something, that is regulation of technology. That is when I regulate that technology in general. It doesn't necessarily have to be internet based.
Hmm.
All right, then it is intellectual property.
Yeah.
So what I'm telling is very basic stuff, all right? But you'll find it very easy to understand also. For example, if today you make a software, so okay, so why, if you today write a story, right? Why are you paid for it, not 10 other people? If you put it on social media, why are you paid for your article? Because that is your copyright,
Hmm.
right? Because you own it, right? But if I make a software, and chuck this, I make a software, and then that software creates stories,
Hmm.
right? Who does the copyright go to? Obviously, our conventional approach will be that copyright will go to the person who created the software. But
Yeah.
I'm just saying, there are 100 possibilities with regard to intellectual property,
Hmm.
right? And so those are the kind of questions we need to address with technology, and patents and whatnot is obviously a part of it. Then comes bioethics and biotech. I mean, that's the basically whoever went into in 80s and 90s into tech got a lot of got very rich. So that is happening now with biotech. I mean, that's where people should be aiming at. And I mean, so basically, concepts like designer babies, I'm going to alter your
Yeah.
DNA and whatever, 20 things. I mean, these kind of questions, and should they really be happening? Because it's scary, right? I mean,
Yeah.
you're playing with nature, right? I mean, if you read, there are a few research papers where people can say our criminal mindsets are basically our, I don't know, our inclination towards committing a crime can also be traced in our DNA, and it's a research. So should I basically, when the before the baby is born, should I really analyze his DNA and kill that, abort that baby, if I know he is more tend to be a criminal?
Hmm.
These questions, these questions are very interesting. Then it's obviously privacy and data, basically your data, and for example data localization. And for example, Reserve Bank of India in 2018 said every payment systems, basically a Paytm or Amazon Pay for that matter, whatever sensitive personal data they have of you, which will be, for example, your passcode, whatever, they have to store it in servers that are in India. And the whole concept of internet is that my server can be in Netherlands, but they can use it here. And the
Yeah.
sixth thing, fintech. So that is, and I spoke to you earlier, you're very interested in finance and all of that, right? So basically, and it's quite common, I mean, trading through AI, right? Where computers make decision of where to invest your money. And there are quite a few cases, especially in Hong Kong and Europe. There are a lot of businesses that are operated on this, and they, like, it's very beneficial because they know which stock is going down, going up. But when do you invest? And sometimes they end up losing money. Yeah?
They
So
do.
these are the six where, I mean, basically law and tech comes in. So when you put it into startups, that is necessarily not law and tech. I mean, there is private equity, there's general compliance, company law. So that you can ask any lawyer. But these six things are basically, that is basically, law and tech consists of. And these things individually, some way, 40% of these things are taught to every lawyer. But the rest of the questions, not everyone is looking at.
These streams that you've just mentioned, AI and big data can play a crucial role in them, and they are to
Of
a
course.
certain extent.
Yeah.
But there are a lot of factors that are holding engineers back or lawyers back from basically combining the two. So, if
Okay.
there are engineers out there or developers out there who want to work in this respect, uh, are there some ways they can do so? Are there any firms that they can look up to? Any resources?
Okay. So basically, artificial intelligence, see, big data and AI, they use together, but they're completely different. I mean,
Yeah.
of course, you would. But AI is basically, I mean, AI has two uses, right? Either it can be a tool for you to be more efficient, or it can replace you. All right. Basically, that is why, like, I was recently researching on the same. So I mean, obviously, if you think, I believe in the legal field,
Hmm.
engineers are the ones who are going to make money, right? Simply because we are very snobbish, like all the law students in general, especially top universities. I mean, obviously, I try to let go of that, and try to come down to other people's level and understand and actually read about tech. But a lot of people are not. So the thing is, and this is where big data comes in. So the legal field, so we rely on previous judgments of courts to apply them to our facts now. Simple, all right. These are called precedents, all right. They hold high persuasive value, or even they are basically law of the land if they are of a higher bench in the higher court. Higher court, I mean High Court, Supreme Court. Simple, all right. So the point here is, if in a district court, and if the facts are similar, I tell the judge, Supreme Court in 1976 in this case said this, they have to agree to this. All right, this is how basically that system works. Now the big data here issue here is that, imagine there are hundreds, thousands of these judgments, and a good lawyer obviously can know hundreds of these judgments during these times. And one sometimes there's a primary judgment that comes in that quotes all of the previous judgments regarding that. But imagine if you could build a system where basically, if I put a research point and all the previous judgments comes in. I mean, there's this business called startup called Legal Mind. they are working in, they are from VIT, and they are working very hard and trying to develop this, and that is my whole point. I mean, all these engineers are going to make money from us, because it's a huge problem, and lawyers will pay, I don't know, thousands for this. And it's a very important solution that you all need to find, because answer that you need to find, because we won't be able to do it. We don't know how to code, we don't know how the algorithms work. I mean, I might know a bit, but in general people don't.
Yeah. Also, online codes. Now, online codes are something that can be done right now easily. There are a lot of products available for that. And that also will probably help us remove the whole problem of tariq pe tariq. So,
What are these codes are you talking about?
all right. So, if we think of the entire uh, process of maybe filing a complaint or a lawsuit, and we take it to a virtual level altogether. So, right from submitting all your documents, your FIR, and all of that is done online. That'll be a lot easier, and I'm sure there won't be a lot of pending cases as there are currently.
So that is what I say. Needs create innovation. So during COVID, so like things that couldn't have happened in the next 10 years happened in 1 week. All right. So Justice Chandrachud, he's from Harvard. And he's one of the most forward judges of the Supreme Court, and one of the best human beings you will meet. A lot of my friends have worked with him, and he's going to be a Chief Justice in 2021 or 22. I might be wrong. And his father was also Judge Y.V. Chandrachud. He's D.Y. Chandrachud, and he heads the E committee of the virtual courts of the Supreme Court. So if you see, most of the high courts and Supreme Courts now, you can file cases virtually. All right. So again, there are two parts to it. One, you said online court, so that is different. That's online dispute resolution. One is you take the traditional courts and make the process virtual. You make the process faster. So honestly, I'm telling you, you wait for 2-3 months when the COVID goes away. Not 3 months, at least 6 months, and you will see a lot of courts. They will be implementing this, and you can file cases sitting at your home. All right. So obviously that process will be easier. Dating, cause, because see, a lot of things, law is generally, I mean, rarely adopted it if you think about it, because the cause list for the next day, what are the cases will be listed, and a lot of Delhi High Court, I've seen courts are e-courts, so all the files are already on the computer, so there is no physical filing system. So if you think about this, there is obviously a lot of improvement. We need a lot, but the law is something that suffers from colonial hangover. We still have that culture, that big gowns and those summer vacations. We have that, and obviously I'm just a law student, so I keep saying BV, but these lawyers I'm saying, but yeah, but that is it.
No, I think that was really informative. It's always been said that what's the difference between a good lawyer and a great lawyer? A good lawyer knows the law, a great lawyer knows the judge. It's safe to now say that a good lawyer knows the law and a great lawyer knows the technical aspect of it as well.
So I was just going to say that you're doing an amazing job, and it's very important. And one thing I'll tell you is, and one thing I tell everyone, when you get your guests, when you speak to people, and genuinely, networking also when you're doing, don't differentiate. All right. And I like, whenever I get my guests also, I never get someone who's very popular, and that's not the aim. The aim is to have a nice person. That person might be popular. That person might be some Rhodes scholar, but the point is always to have nice people around you, and always, and genuinely, and it was so nice to speak with you. It was so nice, and genuinely, when you're building your startup also, like if you want to take any kind of advice, don't go to the most popular person, go to the nicer person.
Yeah.
Because nicer, because always have positivity around you. And that I take, because I have seen a lot of startups. Imagine I worked in a startup that shut down also, but I'm very observant, so I know where people go wrong.
Yeah.
And you need to be patient. And obviously, I'm not a 40-year-old uncle, so I don't know if I'm qualified to give this advice. But have nice people.
Yeah. No, this was one of the things that we did with our courses as well. We didn't want professionals taking those courses. We wanted their seniors to take those courses because they're more approachable that way.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that was the one.
I've seen your courses. I've seen that. See, the advantage here is also, see, the thing is, a lot of people are very stubborn also, right? Once they know that I know this, I mean, then they are not ready to change. But if you learn together, right, the person who's taking the lecture also will also learn a few things with you.
Yeah.
That's very important.
So thank you so much for all that information and your time, Jalaj. It means a lot to all of us at UAceIt. And we look forward to interacting a lot more with you in our future A stories.
Thank you, and I'm always there. Any kind of, I, I, I mean, I'm not a lawyer, so I really don't think I can, I can put that stamp that this is safe or this is not. But I can genuinely connect you with people. That I can.
That means a lot to us. Thank you so much.